Modern homes brag about smart thermostats, heat pumps, and apps that promise comfort on demand. Yet the uncomfortable truth is this. Strip away electricity, pumps and sensors, and most of those homes go cold fast. Meanwhile, in the 1940s, right in the middle of World War II, people were heating houses, barracks, and remote shelters with systems so resilient they're almost embarrassing by comparison. No grid, no motors, no backup generators, just physics doing what physics has always done. And once you understand how it worked, you start to see how much we've unlearned. This isn't nostalgia. This is engineering born under pressure, refined by scarcity, and tested when failure meant real consequences. Let's get straight into it. The forgotten heating advantage hidden in plain physics. One of the most powerful heating tricks of the 1930s and 1940s wasn't flashy. It didn't hum, click, or blink. It simply moved heat where it needed to go, automatically every hour of the day. Passive thermal siphoning was the backbone of countless wartime and rural heating systems, and it worked because it obeyed two rules that never break. Hot water rises, cold water sinks. The setup was brutally efficient. A firebox or stove sat low, sometimes even below floor level. Above it, a water tank or heating coil absorbed rising heat directly from the fire. As the water warmed, it naturally became lighter and travelled upward through slightly angled pipes into radiators or heat exchangers placed throughout the structure. As that water cooled, it grew heavier and flowed back down toward the stove to be reheated. No pump, no electricity, no switches to fail in the middle of the night. Once the loop started, it didn't want to stop. As long as there was even a modest fire, circulation continued. And, even after the fire burned down, the system kept releasing stored heat for hours. Modern hydronic systems collapse the moment a pump loses power, but these systems, well, they just shrugged and kept going. You can still apply this today with a basic wood stove and a gravity-fed loop made from steel or copper pipe. Honestly, you don't need steep angles or complicated math. Just a small upward rise per meter is enough to maintain flow. The beauty is in its stubbornness. Physics doesn't panic during storms. Modern heating prioritizes speed, thin metals, lightweight components, rapid temperature changes. The goal is immediate comfort, even if it disappears just as fast. The 1940s had a different priority. They wanted heat that stayed put. This is where thermal mass enters the conversation, and it's one of the biggest reasons old systems feel so different. Cast iron radiators, brick surrounds, stone walls, and clay structures weren't accidents or aesthetic choices. They were heat storage devices. Thermal mass absorbs energy slowly and releases it slowly. Instead of blasting hot air for 10 minutes and leaving you cold again, these materials acted like batteries. They charged while the fire burned and paid that heat back steadily over time. When fuel ran low or attention shifted elsewhere, the room didn't instantly freeze. This approach mattered during World War II, when fuel rationing was real and supply lines were strained. You couldn't afford waste. You needed every log, every coal shovel to work harder and longer. You can recreate this right now without changing your entire home. Surround a stove with brick or stone. Build a masonry bench nearby. Place steel barrels filled with water next to a heat source in a cabin or workshop. Those barrels will soak up excess heat during peak burn and radiate warmth long after the flames die down. It's not elegant, it's effective, and it doesn't care if the lights go out. So, how did air move itself through homes without the help of fans or ducts? Well, water wasn't the only thing moving naturally. Air did its part too, guided by smart design rather than any powered machinery. Builders back in the 1940s understood convection deeply, even if they didn't always use that word. Cold air is heavy. It sinks toward the floor. Warm air is light, and it rises. By creating controlled pathways, designers sort of turned entire buildings into slow, breathing organisms. Channels were built behind walls, under floors, and around stove enclosures. Cold air was pulled in low, warmed as it passed along hot surfaces like chimneys or stovebacks, and released higher up into rooms or adjacent spaces. Once again, no fans, no motors, just a constant, gentle circulation loop. Different regions adapted the idea to local needs, but the principle stayed the same. Guide the air. Don't fight it. Let it move where it already wants to go. You can replicate this with a simple stove shroud. Build a metal or wooden enclosure around a wood stove, leaving a small gap of a few inches. Cut a vent near the bottom to let cold air enter. Add another vent near the top to release warm air. As the stove heats up, air will begin to draft upward on its own. You'll hear it before you feel it. That one modification can significantly increase usable heat output without burning extra fuel. It's free efficiency, powered by temperature difference alone. Each of these techniques is powerful on its own. But, together they form something modern systems rarely achieve. True resilience. Thermal siphoning moves heat reliably. Thermal mass stores it patiently. Convection channels distribute it evenly. No single failure point shuts the whole system down. Remove electricity from the equation entirely, and, nothing important changes. Modern heating is dependent by design, dependent on grids, sensors, pumps, and replacement parts. When those systems work, they're comfortable. When they don't, they're useless. The 1940s approach embedded heating directly into the structure of the building. It was quiet. It was steady. It worked in wartime, during fuel shortages, and through harsh winters because it didn't ask permission from external systems. For survivalists, this isn't about romanticizing the past. It's about understanding redundancy. For historians, it's a reminder that necessity produces solutions that convenience often erases. You don't need to rebuild your house or live off-grid to use these ideas. Honestly, just start small and build intelligently. Add thermal mass where you already produce heat. Brick, stone, water, or cast iron near stoves and fireplaces will immediately change how long heat lingers in your space. Build a convection sleeve or shroud to encourage natural airflow. And if you're planning a cabin, workshop or backup shelter, design it with gravity-fed hot water loops instead of electric pumps. Think in terms of systems that fail gracefully instead of systems that fail instantly. Ask yourself what keeps working when power disappears. The 1940s answered that question with confidence because they had to. These weren't museum pieces. They were daily tools used by families, workers and soldiers during World War II. And they still outperform modern solutions in the one category that matters most when conditions turn hostile: reliability. If you value history that still pulls its weight today, methods forged under pressure and proven by time, you're in the right place. Subscribe to Old World Prep. Share this with someone who understands that forgotten knowledge isn't obsolete, and keep digging with us. The past still has lessons left to teach.